So anyway, Cardinal Law, or actually it was Cardinal O'Malley, discharged the Rogers Law Firm and hired Ropes and Gray. And Diane, Deval Patrick's wife, works with Ropes and Gray. I'm sure you know who Deval Patrick is.
Of course, he's the governor of Massachusetts.
Yeah, well, I served him long before he was ever governor. He was the Attorney General, Assistant Attorney General under Clinton.
Right.
And then he went to work for, what was it, Coca-Cola?
Very, very, very close with Obama, and I do use that word close guardedly.
Well, I know a lot about a lot of things. You can see that for a bike mechanic. And you'd be surprised at the people I do know, but I don't profess to know something I don't. But like you take back to names again, Larry Summers, like his family name really is Samuelson. Mm-hmm. And he was president of Harvard. I just tuned in your show late, and I heard you mention Dershowitz, that Gates fellow that was talking.
Yes.
And I remember in Boston at the time, I remember Larry Summers getting himself in trouble over making fun of women, and got the boot from there. But I remember dicing with Dershowitz back then, too. I got answers from Dershowitz and everything. Michael Ignatieff, one of the fellows that got your email, he taught at Harvard. They used to call him Canada's Prince of Darkness. Yeah,
he's the Ignatius. Isn't he the one that said that the white race should be abolished?
No, Ignatieff, his family's from the Ukraine.
Yeah.
He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Well, that figures.
He and Bob Ray were college classmates. But anyway, he taught at Harvard for a long time, and he was buddies with Dershowitz. And they sanctioned torture in Guantanamo Bay, which is where Yankees tried to send me in 2003, and I kind of took issue with that.
All right, we know all of that. I mean, by the
books. Well, but what you probably don't know is you know how Bob Barr,
Why Terror Works, is a particular book written by Allen.
Yeah, you know Bob Barr, right? Former congressman, former U.S. attorney from down in Georgia.
Of course, yeah.
Bob and I had to talk late one night on a talk show like this, and I so embarrassed them that they had like a 15-minute commercial and edited out everything I said. I kind of played him like a fiddle. Mm-hmm. But he was invited to Boston for a conference about whether it was okay to torture people or not, and Dershowitz wasn't allowed to the powwow. And, they were talking about Chatham House rules. Mm-hmm. And I was asking Mr. Barr on the air, are we playing Chatham House rules here? And he's going, why? And I said, because there's a long delay on the air. And anyway, he loved to hear all the gossip I had to tell him about Alan Dershowitz until I involved the Department of Homeland Security and his former assistant U.S. attorney becoming the general counsel of the Department of Homeland Security. But anyway, back to Larry Summers. He's an interesting character. I'm sure you know his history. And now he's a big-time economic advisor again.
I'm well aware of him and the rest of the clan, yes.
Well,
now, listen, I'm going to do this now, Dave, okay? I'm going to take a call from somebody who'd like to join in who's from Massachusetts. And he's a good one of our good listeners here, John. And I want to see what John has to say. John, are you there? John in Massachusetts.
Hey, how you doing, Rick?
All right, I'm doing okay. And you're on now with David Ames.
Thanks for letting me on, and another great program. And, I've had a chance and pleasure to talk to David himself, and I'm just calling in to say that I'm going to vouch for this guy's character because he's a good man. I took an interest in him and his buddy up there, Werner Bach, who is a whole interesting story in and of itself, how he's helped them. Because Werner, I don't know if you know about Werner, Rick, but he's a farmer who originally came from Germany, and he's been in New Brunswick for a number of years, I think about 30 or 35 years or so. And they've had, I heard about his case on Dr. Carley's show, and, directed energy at his cows and stuff, and you can check it out on YouTube, and it's just unbelievable, the stuff that they've been going through, and David's helped Werner, so... he's a good guy, so I wouldn't believe, I'm sure you don't believe the guys that are after him, so.
Oh, no, I just throw them out so people will know exactly what's going on all sides. I mean, when I get attacked, I know that I have to be doing something right.
Yeah,
I'm being attacked by these
and I'd just like to say hello to David himself, and hopefully, and then he actually, him and Werner were actually helping, took one of Dr. Carley's friends under their wings, and she was being persecuted by the powers that be, so, they're good people, like yourself and Dr. K, and, we're all in this fight together, so we got to stick together, so.
Well, we're used to it now. We're getting very used to it, John.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be giving you a call, David.
Yes, thank you.
Say hello to
Dave.
Say hello to Werner for me.
Yes, I will.
Bye-bye. Good night.
John, thanks for checking in, okay?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rick. Good night.
Good nighty. All right, I didn't want to keep him up too long. I know he's going to get ready to retire for the evening, and as a matter of fact, I will be doing that soon myself. But we're talking about
it would really take hours and hours and hours to take you down through any path of the garden of good and evil that you want to go through. You pick a topic and see what comes off the top of my head.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You open up the doors of the church now, and the politicians in Massachusetts, you're opening up quite a wide door.
Yes. Well, okay, if you want to talk about the church in Massachusetts, great. The first lawsuit I ever filed in my life, I'm a layman, not a lawyer.
Right.
But I think you can tell I'm smarter than the average bear. But
anybody who's read anything about constitutional law, particularly here in the United States, has something over on just about everybody in the legal profession. That I can say.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is it's all based in common sense, common law, but they try to twist things around and add more laws to complicate the matters. But to get back to the Constitution, and it's elementary. But in Massachusetts, I sued them in a state court pursuant to Mass General Laws, 266 in particular. Trustee fails in his fiduciary responsibility. He gives money he holds in trust to charity. The reason I sued Cardinal Law is because he had our stolen funds. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And I was demanding that he give it back, or I was seeking relief, which I figured they would just say, sorry, Dave, and give it back. But they kept raising the ante.
Yeah, the attorney said no.
Well, it was far more than that. The U.S. Treasury Department tried to lock me up.
They tried to put you away for this. Hmm?
Oh, yeah. Like, what I did, I tried to reason with everybody first. Okay? And nobody wanted to talk to me. Many documents had disappeared from the court. So I accrued evidence the best way I knew how, and once I had irrefutable evidence, and like, for instance, they closed an estate that my wife had half interest in, claiming that she assented. There was no accounting, and she had never assented. The fellows that have the first kick of the can of all estates and trusts are the IRS. And they were built too. You have to deal with the U.S. Federal Code, Title 26, but the feds, they want their money before any of the beneficiaries get theirs.
Well, obviously, yeah. I understand that's the rule of law, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah, and the way it's done is that they had to lie to the feds first. So I knew they were lying to us. So it was a no-brainer to know that they were lying to the feds. Mm-hmm. For instance, Aunt Elaine made $140,000 off her investments on the years she died. I'm not paying attention. Clearly, her estate was worth more than $600,000.
Mm-hmm.
So they closed the estate below the threshold that the feds would be interested in, and the lawyer wouldn't lie, particularly a lawyer that sat on the board of governors of Harvard Law School with Larry Sumner as the boss, would he?
Oh, no.
And that's my wife's cousin, biggest crook of all. And I said, good God, if they do this to kin, what do they do to strangers? So I started looking at all the estates they closed. It was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these Kickums, that's my wife's family, if they decide to build an old folks' home, Dukakis and Carey and all the boys come with the silver shovel.
Mm-hmm.
And then the government helps them build these old folks' home, and then they send the priest in and say, give your money to God. I was looking at one old lady's estate. She was Jewish. By her age, she must have lived through the Holocaust. She had one heir, a sister about her age, a little younger, still living in Germany. And she left all her money to the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me she wasn't in Alzheimer's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. But
we're only scratching the surface of
yeah,
corruption
and this
here.
goes on everywhere with the Brotherhood of the Bar. And God forbid if you're an old person and don't have somebody watching out for your interest in your latter days, you're at the mercy of law guardians and courts. And then after they have you all safe and sound in an old folks' home or a medical facility, they bankrupt you, the lawyers divvy the take, and then they stick the hand out to Medicaid.